All right, welcome to this bit of a controversial training, but I just want to take you through some tips when you're not necessarily driving lines, but when you're more stacking. Okay, it's a little bit different. Driving lines is more of a natural way to build a business through people, through people, through people, whereas stacking is really where you're probably an amazing recruiter and you're able to find a lot of people, yet you're kind of putting them under each other. So first of all, I want you to understand this is very controversial. Different leaders have different opinions about this. Some are very against it, and some are for it. And so, this is your business. You have to make a decision what's best for you and how you drive your business forward. Um, my opinion is that now, with the new compensation plan, which is all about driving legs, and with the right ways to do it, especially as we are recruiting mainly our cold contacts through social media, I believe that this is a wonderful way to build a business. But you're going to have to make up your own mind and how you want to do it with your teams. Another thing why this is a bit controversial is that usually our business has always been based on relationships with people that we know, and if you're sponsoring somebody into the business who is like your best friend, you don't really want to put them under somebody that they don't necessarily know or like, right? But that was more, I would say, the traditional way we built the business through belly to belly, face to face, and so on. With social media, we are recruiting a lot of people we do not necessarily know, and we don't necessarily have a relationship with them, which makes stacking, it makes sense a lot more in this way. And there is a lot of different tips and hints I want to go through in this short presentation here that will hopefully help you to do this the right way. Okay, so just to understand the advantages and disadvantages, really the psychology is that the fear of loss is always greater than the motivation for gain. And what I mean by that is that when you get a carrot in front of you and you're about, let's say I say, look, if you do this and this and this, you will get 10,000 pounds. Now your motivation is pretty high. You're like, yes, 10,000 pounds, I want to go get it. However, if I said, if you don't do this and this and this, you will lose 10,000 pounds, you're going to have a much greater motivation to do so. And that fear of loss is something that we need to use in our business to the best of our abilities. And we do that when it comes to stacking in a way. Okay. And what will happen, another advantage of stacking is that more people will take action. It's just because of what's happening and so on. And I'll get into more details of that soon. Okay. And you're really preparing for these leadership legs that will last a much longer time, legs that will pay you a much bigger way, and really for a new compensation plan so that you can really take full advantage of making the big money, which comes on the deeper generations. And also people that would normally maybe get started in the business and quit very easily would possibly keep on going because they're going to be motivated when they see results happening in their business. Now the disadvantage of stacking is that sometimes you will actually put somebody new into the business that you don't really know yet, but you will put them way deep down in your organization, and you will maybe not get paid on them as much as you possibly could if you actually would have put them on your first level, right? And also, what sometimes happens is you introduce somebody into the business, and they get put under somebody else they don't necessarily like, and they cannot really work with them. So that sometimes can happen as a disadvantage. And what I mean by stacking here, just so you guys can understand this a little bit more, is that when you introduce somebody into the business, let's say Jane, then you find Anna, but instead of putting Anna on your front line, you actually put her under Jane, even though they don't know each other. And then you put Sonia under Anna, they don't know each other. You put Bill under Sonia, they don't know each other, and so on down the line, right? So you are actually the person who recruited all these people. So instead of putting them on your first level like this, you're actually stacking them. And so what happens traditionally when you are really good at recruiting and you're signing up, let's say you sign up 10 people, only one of those 10 people will actually be active if you find them usually through social media and you don't really have a relationship with them. And however, if you're stacking a line like this, you will actually see that probably about 50% of these people will become active if you're doing it the right way. Okay. So the first thing to do is to always ask the person that you're signing up to say, look, you can go directly under me, or you can actually go into the team that I'm building right now. Now, you are obviously going to get the same support from me no matter where you go, but you're also going to get the help and support from other people. But you're also potentially going to get other new people into your team this way if you go into this new line, right? And so make them actually tell you that they would like to go into this team instead of directly under you. If they're very persistent with saying they want to go directly under you, then sure, put them under you, but just know that they're not going to be somebody that you're maybe going to stack, right? Um, Also, what I would do is you would put everybody in this team into a group chat. So they're all learning from each other. They're all bouncing off each other. They're all getting energy from each other. Especially if you have a couple of people in this leg that you're stacking who've actually been in the business for a while. They understand the business. They can help with a lot of the easy questions for these newer people. How to make an order, how to sign somebody up, things like that you maybe not always want to spend time doing. That will everybody will help each other out in that group chat. Okay. However, you would treat each person as your front line, okay? Even though they're maybe on your 10th level, you would treat them as your front line. Treat them just as importantly as you were the one who signed them up, and you now have to help them get going in the business, right? Okay? And as anybody in that leg becomes active, you now need to explain to all the other people the rules about how they have to actually become active and start doing the business if that person starts to qualify for executive. Otherwise, they might lose that person forever, right? And then you keep on stacking this leg until it goes to 1,000 points, that letter of intent, LOI, right? Or maybe even possibly more, Q1, even Q2. You might want to keep stacking this leg until they go executive if you have that luxury in your business at the moment, right? So let's say you built this leg right here, and then Charlie does 120 points. She does a sale, right? What you now want to do is you want to tell Leah, Mike, Natalie, Bill, Sonia, Anna, and Jane how excited you are because Charlie made this order, and they now need to start to become active as well, right? And let's say that you've also signed up Holly under Charlie, and Holly actually in the month does 1,000 points. She actually goes LOI. She starts her qualification. Now, what's interesting here is that all these other people can actually piggyback off the first month of qualification. Okay. And what I mean by that is as long as they do 100 points themselves, they will actually go into qualification themselves. So what will happen here is that Jane will actually say, well, no, this is too hard. I'm quitting. Sonia will quit. Natalie will quit. Leah will quit, right? But the rest of the people there, Anna, Bill, Mike, and Charlie, are all going to go out there and get some sales. They're going to get some products themselves. They're going to do at least 100 points and therefore do their first month of qualification, right? Now, what will happen the following month is that all of them individually will need to go and get 1,500 points each, unless they want to lose Holly in the long run as she starts to qualify to become an executive. So all of them will have to do Anna, Bill, Mike, and Charlie, who are continuing to do the business. The rest of the people quit, right? They're all going to go out and do 1,500 points each. So your total GSV this month is going to be at least 7,500 off of this leg right here, right? And normally what would happen is that you would put them all in your first level, and in the third month Anna would qualify to or Holly actually in this case would qualify to get 2,000 points, and the rest of the people would just do zero. So your total would be 2,000 points instead. But now that you have all these people that are in qualification, you would actually end up getting 8,000 points because Anna needs to get 2,000 points, Bill needs to get 2,000 points. You actually have, I think it was Mike actually quit here. He did 1,500 points, but he just couldn't continue to do 2,000 points. So he's quit. That's fine. But Charlie continued and Holly continued to do their 2,000 points. They all become executives. And now you did 8,000 points in your group sales volume. Okay. So I hope that makes sense, the difference between putting everybody on your first level as opposed to stacking them in a leg, right? Now, a few other tips that I have for you for stacking is that look for geographical stacking as much as possible as well. So for example, if you are building, let's say 4 different areas, you're building up a Spanish team, so you're putting everybody in Spain under one leg, you're building one leg in London, everybody in London goes in that one leg, everybody in Scotland goes in another leg, and everybody in Ireland goes in another leg, right? You can do geographical stacking like that. You could also look at family and say like, well, look, I'm going to speak to everybody in my family, but you might sign up your sister, but she's not really that interested in the business. But you're still going to stack her with everybody in your family, everybody that she knows, right? The same thing with all the friends that you have in common with that person. Just stack them under that same leg, even if they're not that interested. Just get them in a free ID number and start stacking them, and keep them updated what you're doing. Right? They're not that interested in building the business, but they're open to creating a free ID number and giving you some support. The other thing you can do is sometimes look at the trade. So you put all beauticians under each other, or everyone that is a hairdresser under each other, or everyone who's a personal trainer that's focusing maybe on the scanner under each other. But the big thing here is you want to create massive energy, and that's why you want to have those group chats to just have huge energy. And yes, you will have some people that will quit and they will drop out, they will be inactive and so on. Just be prepared for that. That's totally fine, right? It's totally normal. Okay, but you want to keep everyone in the loop of what's going on the whole time, because they don't want to lose out on somebody beneath them. We have seen that somebody that really goes out and builds this business properly, that leg can be worth anything between 10,000 to 30,000 pounds per month, right? And so, of course, that's not going to happen initially, but it could happen within time, within 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, right? And so you always want to keep everybody in the loop so that one day you don't go back to them and say, look, if you just would have continued doing this business, you wouldn't have lost out on those couple of million pounds of commissions, right? Okay. And what happens in this situation as well is everyone is learning at all times. This is a group. It's like teamwork, right? So if you're signing up Holly on your eighth, ninth level, you're keeping everybody else in the loop. You maybe have a group chat where you're teaching Holly what to do, and they're seeing exactly how you're teaching her the business, right? And that's another big key is that they're always watching you and seeing how you're building the business. So even though they're not necessarily on your front level, you're treating them like they're on your front level. Okay, and as I said before, that most of them will not be active. The same thing as before. We said only 10% usually if you sign people up on your first level are active, whereas here maybe it goes down to, at least goes up to maybe 30, 40, 50%. If you're doing it all the right way, you could have as high as half of them will probably continue to do the business, right? And the big thing with all of this is to have fun, because if you're having fun, everybody else starts to have fun. They want to continue doing the business, and they are seeing some success, and they will take way, way more action. And you might have somebody that would have quit very early on, continue to do business, become a great, great leader, and build a huge team. So I hope this helps. Get back to the person that introduced you to the business. If you have any questions, we're here to help you, of course. But this is all, as well. It's a very controversial topic where you still got to decide whether this is for you or not. I believe this is a great, great way to build a business, especially now with the new compensation plan.